Welcome back to the channel. In this video, providing an update on Redacted Cartel. This is my first real DAO involvement and I'm rather enjoying it. So in this one, I'm going to bring to you some of the proposals currently ongoing so we can see behind the curtain exactly what kind of things you can vote on by being a member of this DAO and how this all builds into the wider DeFi ecosystem, because there's a lot of breadcrumbs as to potential places where you may want to place some bets. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also check out the pinned comment down below, join our Patreon. We had a Zoom call this morning, do these bi-weekly, and we discussed Btrfly and the Redacted Cartel earlier in that as well. So you can get all the recordings to those over on Patreon. Now let's jump into the video. So checking out Redacted Cartel, the Btrfly token here. Bitcoin has taken a dump today, going sub 40K briefly, no mass cascading liquidations, which is a good thing, but you will see a lot of charts looking a bit like this, kind of sad. Red candles and a big wick down here. The level I've put in here is a level of support I thought we would hold, and we currently kind of have on a 4-hour time frame. So I'd like to see this continue to hold here around 2,400 bucks and not fall below it or even close below it. Hard to do TA on an asset like this that has huge inflation, but nonetheless, these are some key levels that I am looking for. But in general, it's been performing pretty well. Against Ethereum, it's worth 0.82 of an ETH per Btrfly right now, which is up from when I got in. So this is the flywheel. So they want you to bond your Curve Wars tokens, Curve Convex. They've also had a proposal to include Frax shares here. And on top of that, the other bonding token is the LP token between Btrfly and Ohm. This is a sub-DAO of Ohm, so it should benefit Ohm over time as well. So as they say, metamorphosis increases bonded tokens in the treasury. So through the bonds, you get a discount on Btrfly. So through this process, you bond some of these CVX, CRV, or the LP position, and you get some discounted Btrfly, which then vests over a 5-day period. So we get more tokens and a bigger treasury. And as this treasury grows, the DAO utilizes the assets to generate more yield. These various assets can be used to generate quite substantial yield if you looked into these various tokens, especially Convex. We're talking quite high double-digit rates of return, like 30–40% plus. And thus, the underlying value of Btrfly will increase. And so the value of the treasury therefore increases. And with that increasing treasury, we therefore start the flywheel once again. As the more assets in this treasury, the greater yield we can get and underlying intrinsic value goes up. So a nice flywheel to familiarize yourself with. Update here, there's $1 million bounty to find bugs in the smart contracts here over on Redacted Cartel. So a huge bug bounty there on display, and it shows you that this is a well-funded project and they really do mean business. So these are the current tokens that you can bond here: Btrfly Ohm LP, CVX, and Curve as stated. And then if you've got some Btrfly, I'm not suggesting that you do so. This is high-risk stuff. But if you do get involved, you want to be staking them because the APY is 194,000%. So if you're not staking, you're going to be diluted versus who is staking, and over 91% of participants are currently staked in here. So this is not the dollar value that's going to go up to this tune, but the amount of tokens that you've got over the course of a full year, that is. But there's plenty of documents online. I covered them in the previous video. If you want to go and check them out, just over here, we left a link to the spreadsheet showing you the exact rate of return you can get over specific dates. Now, one thing to be mindful of, there is a full podcast here. So they've created their own radio station, Redacted Radio, 2 episodes so far, super informative if you are new. And this is just about 3 weeks old right now. And you want to get into these DAOs early on, as we've seen with Wonderland Time and Olympus. Getting in early yields the best results. And so this one is very close to its inception, and thus you are not going to be too far behind if you get involved from here on out. Let's jump into some of the proposals here. So this is going to be the first proposal to look at. So it's going into the low POL, which stands for Protocol Owned Liquidity to Market Cap Ratio, which has been a source of some fun online, people poking fun at it, as these kind of Olympus forks should have better protocol owned liquidity percentages. So utilizing a new feature in Olympus DAO's V2 treasury, the Redacted Cartel internal policy team and I at Real Kindando present a novel way to double the rate we build our LP. We'll go into what exactly protocol owned liquidity is in just a second. TLDR here, we need liquidity ASAP, and Olympus will let us borrow Ohm on our staked Ohm to add LP, and we'll mint Btrfly to fund the other side, because in a LP position you need 50-50 of the two tokens. We have a big bag of staked Ohm within the treasury, and this change to the contract from Olympus allows for whitelisted addresses to actually get a loan on their staked Ohm. So this is where they're going for, and we'll replace the LP bonds with Ohm bonds, creating buy pressure for Ohm and building our reserves, taking a stronger 3-3 position. If we just scroll down here, you can see that they point out that the protocol owned liquidity is not growing fast enough to the market cap basis. Essentially a bit of a victim of their own success here. The market cap's grown massively up to 550 million as of this tweet, but the POL was at 34 mil, and they want to get at least 10% protocol owned liquidity. So they say getting to $100 million is their focus point here, and this will be vital to being able to bond new assets and offer cool financial products such as Rabi Capital's Fuse Pool. So Zeus, one of the leads over at Ohm, told the guys here at Redacted, clearly a very good partnership here, you know, these guys are working together in unison. He told them that Olympus V2 treasury allows the following. So the feature is a new debt facility allowing whitelisted contracts to deposit staked Ohm as a collateral and borrow Ohm at 0% interest. Over time, the yield from the staked Ohm repays the loan balance, and based on the current 4,500% staked Ohm APY, it would take less than 2 months for the loan to repay itself. So a bit of a no-brainer. And based on the current loan-to-value ratio, going for a 50% loan-to-value here, we can get an additional $21 million of Ohm borrowed to bolster this LP position, which is what we are going for with this. So Redacted will still control their $21 million of staked Ohm, but be able to put it to good use. So this needs to actually get a pass from Ohm governance before we can pass it over on Redacted as well. So this proposal, which they've named the Cozo Mata, consists of minting some Btrfly, taking some staked Ohm from the treasury, borrowing Ohm against it, making the LP position, giving the LP back to the treasury once more, and self-imposing a 50% LTV to prevent us adding too much Ohm to the market. So overall, this should allow them to effectively grow the protocol owned liquidity at 1% of market cap per day. So this one is currently live both on the Redacted Commonwealth site and over on Olympus's forum as well. And in general, we're seeing some good and positive vibes from Olympus. The vote ends on the 12th of January, so 2 days away from here. This pretty much sums up sentiment. I'm in favor of allowing Redacted to use this powerful new Olympus offering. This will allow them to have access to some amount of staking rewards while simultaneously growing their liquidity. And because this liquidity is paired with Ohm, this is also beneficial for us in growing the economy. Redacted has been successful in their launch and has fulfilled every part of their agreement to date. And so for this reason, it seems obvious they should be added to the whitelist. And then this is the TLDR over on the Redacted site, pretty much what we just went through, and it also requires them to slightly amend their constitution as well. Previously read, Btrfly will not be diluted in the execution of any proposals, defined as issuance or supply increases beyond the rebase index, exceptions made for initial P Btrfly, but they will now add in and or otherwise compliant bonding activities, which this should come under. So that proposal over on Redacted is mostly in favor, but there's a few who are against at this moment in time, so we'll see how this exactly pans out. But in terms of protocol owned liquidity, what the heck is it? Well, this was a brand new approach taken on by Olympus to provide liquidity tokens on decentralized exchanges. So the protocol itself will own the liquidity pair. That is the overall goal here, instead of relying on individuals to supply both the two tokens. And typically what you have to do in this scenario is give out some form of reward token, your own governance token, to ensure that they continue to farm in that pool. The problem with this is you are inviting rent seeking. People are going to enter the pool, farm your token and dump, which is bad for price. But owning the pool liquidity yourself and utilizing a bonding mechanism, this essentially involves the protocol selling their tokens at a discount to buyers who in exchange will provide another token which forms part of the protocol's treasury. The treasury can then be deployed to provide liquidity directly to DEXs, earning trading fees, which is a plus, and can be invested to generate returns. So the major benefit of protocol-owned liquidity, you're going to improve the overall liquidity of your token, as the DAO in this case will be locking the LP position forever, essentially. There's no need for them to break down their LP position at any point in time, so you're just bolstering the overall liquidity in your market, makes it easier for people to get in and get out, less slippage and more depth. And it can be argued that this can help with scarcity factors of the token as well, or at least reducing the overall circulating supply of the governance token as it's getting locked in the LP position. So that proposal looks both positive for Ohm and Redacted on first look there. Now, the second proposal here is for participating in the CURVANCE seed round. So CURVANCE is a new protocol that will launch sometime towards the end of Q1. And this one actually allows for decentralized stablecoin lending with a focus on wrapped tokens from the Curve, Convex, Yearn, and Badger ecosystems. So again, some of these Curve War tokens. The terms of this, they're going to allow Redacted to buy up 250K's worth of allocation at $17 per CVE. It will start with a circulating market cap on token generation event of 2.9 million only, 68 mil fully diluted, and will be paid in 3 curve accumulated through CRV farming. 1 year vest with quarterly cliffs, 10% unlock at token generation event. So this sounds pretty promising as well. Well, very promising. You're getting seed allocation for the DAO of an upcoming project that is involved in the Curve Wars. So this could be very good for strategic objectives and for synergistic reasons with this protocol, as we'll look at the end here. But what does CURVANCE really do, and what does it kind of look like? Well, many people are suggesting that this is very similar to Spell and Abracadabra Money, allowing you to take these locked tokens and in return receive a stable coin. So unlocking some liquidity of those wrapped assets. So they talk about assets such as CVX CRV and BV CVX, and they'll still earn similar APRs to what they get on their original platforms, but with the added ability to use deposits as collateral for secure stablecoin loans. So interest on these loans are based on several factors, including pool APR, price volatility, token liquidity, and loan to value ratios. So CURVANCE will be a decentralized lending protocol, peer-to-peer. It then has its own token for governance of the overall protocol as well, and it does some liquidity routing, i.e. if you deposit your CVX CRV, you're still going to get your interest rates as per depositing on Convex, whilst also being able to utilize a loan. So adding some additional leverage to the system here. So in terms of the partnership here with Redacted, it says this: we discovered in initial conversations that there are several ways for Redacted and CURVANCE to work together. Firstly, it aligns nicely with our values of building on top of Curve and Convex. Redacted can leverage the LP positions we accumulate through the treasury farming activities to leverage up, earn additional yield, and find new utility for the Curve ecosystem tokens that are idle in their treasury. So some idle funds will be able to be put to work through CURVANCE, thus boosting overall yields. Good for the Btrfly token. And furthermore, on our path to accumulate large stakes in all VE tokens, that is vote escrow tokens, we can use the CVE we accumulate through this transaction to lock up vote locked CVE, giving our treasury a new revenue stream of fees and bribes, additional governance power, and a new use case for Btrfly meta governance. Potential airdrops received from our DAOs, early participation will route back to stakers of Btrfly. So this looks like it really does add to that flywheel that we looked at earlier and should generally be good for business. And then someone in the comments here, Molecularity, stating the overall sentiment here, which is typically bullish. Most people are very much in favor of this, and I don't really see why you would be against this one. The stats make for a compelling case of their own. CURVANCE fundamentally looks strong, 5,700 members on Discord, 10K followers on Twitter, good product market fit. Team and tokenomics all look solid, so the opportunity sits squarely with the pure view of Redacted's investment thesis and could help further enhance and leverage our accumulation of DeFi governance tokens. I can see a symbiotic benefit to CURVANCE too, which is important for the long-term mutual success of the investor and investee relationship. I also think that this puts down the gauntlet and shows that Redacted means business. It's a 250K commitment and a valuation of 2.9 million. He's pointing out that this is a good risk to reward, and generally this is getting high praise here. So this again looks like it should pass through. And then last but not least, we have a proposal from Phantom DAO Partnership. So Phantom DAO is a new DAO over on the Phantom network with an F. This one is spelled with a PH. Essentially, you can see that the curve wars may spill over to the Phantom network, and there may be a lot more on the line over on Phantom as that ecosystem grows even bigger. So this is about a prospective partnership between Phantom and Redacted that can be summarized through an exchange of value in Spirit Swap. So Redacted will accumulate influence by holding in Spirit. That's the Spirit Swap governance token. They're then able to influence the pool's emissions. With Phantom and Redacted's interests align, Phantom will be benefiting through these emissions being pointed towards the two gauges it's leveraging, Phantom LP and G-Ohm. So very similar to the Curve gauge, utilizing those emission rewards towards the LP positions that you've got. This is very similar, but over on Spirit Swap. And this is the first real move into the Phantom ecosystem and first look into kind of dominating the Spirit Swap wars that may come about that I've seen thus far. So this again is very, very cool. 127 approvals here, 12 do nothings. And they also go on to state that eventually Phantom will open Spooky Swap pools as well, if they do create curve-like gauges. And this is of course beneficial for G-Ohm as one of those LP positions that we're going to be aiming the rewards towards. And Redacted's mission here is to also to bolster the Olympus DAO as well. So all positive stuff in that regard. If you go over to Spirit Swap and in Spirit here, you stake Spirit to get in Spirit. You can lock it up from 1 month all the way up to 4 years for more voting power. And then you vote on these various boosted farms. And thus you can point the Spirit rewards where you wish. And you can see the G-Ohm to Phantom LP position here, one of the ones just stated there, gets 3.15% of the emissions so far. So if we get involved over here with Redacted, we can maybe boost this up nicely as well. And for me, this makes a lot of sense. Phantom is getting quite a lot of interest right now. Big boys are stepping into here. A lot's being built out. Big protocols are moving over. So if this is going to be a major chain in the future, well, you want to have influence over here. So this strategically makes a lot of sense for Redacted. So again, in favor of all 3 of these proposals in my eyes. So there we have it, 3 proposals currently on the line here over on Redacted Cartel, all of which should benefit Btrfly stakers and the intrinsic value of Btrfly, helping to spin up that flywheel of value. So I hope you enjoyed this summary. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you agree with all of these, or is there anything that's really making you think twice about voting yes on one of these? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below, guys. Make sure you subscribe if you're new and check out that pinned comment down below. Catch you in the next one. Goodbye.